And hello and welcome to the podcast. Maybe I can't start with hello and welcome to the podcast because that seems to make me draw a blank. I'm still figuring out everything, really, but I'm still working through how I want to directly approach this right now. How quick, how much do I have to ease you into me talking about what I want to talk about? Or should I just get to the point? That's what we're working with. Outside of that, that's not what we're talking about today, though. What I wanted to talk about today was how everything is your own fault, which sounds a bit aggressive, so let me explain that. This is something I've kind of always almost subconsciously applied to my life in a very healthy way, which again, let me explain that. Um, but only just recently have I kind of fully understood it, fully ran with it in a way. Basically, when I say everything is your own fault, I think that too frequently, the reason we maybe don't do something or something, the reason something's stopping us from doing what we want to do is the lack of control we feel, the what's the point mindset when you have all this working against you. What's the point of trying? This person has so much more and is already further ahead, so what's the point in trying? And I think something that's can be really freeing if you think about it, but can also be a little bit scary to admit is that where you are right now is your own fault. And I want to caveat this and say there there's a lot of things outside of our control, obviously. Everybody gets a different set of opportunities, a different set of privileges, and it's not a bad thing to acknowledge that. You should acknowledge that, especially if you're that person. But putting so much emphasis on something that you can't change, that was given to you, is kind of doing you a disservice into what you can actually do. And if you start taking more responsibility for the state that you're in and what you can do to change that, it's like I'm gonna say this because it's the thing that's coming in my head, but I swear it's just like a cringy. You could say it's cringy, maybe it's not. I don't know. It depends on who you're looking at or who you're talking to. But it's just like one of those Pinterest things. But it's like no one's coming to save you, so save yourself, right? And the idea behind that is that you're taking responsibility for or accountability, I guess those are interchangeable, for where you are right now. You can't expect anyone to care more about you than yourself, than you should. And maybe you're not at a point where you care about yourself as much as you should. And that's something else to work on. But I guess what I'm, hello, pause. Okay. What I'm trying to get at is that reframing or I guess changing your focus to you are the only person who can actually make the change and Maybe it sucks what you've had, or maybe it sucks that someone else is further ahead because of an opportunity that they were given instead. And at the same time with that, it's like you don't really see everything going on, and I think there's a balance to everything, you know? But I don't know if I should get into that right now. But specifically for this, you can choose to focus on what you don't have, on how life's unfair, on the things you can't control, or you can take responsibility. Where you are now is because of the actions you took. Meaning, the actions you take going forward can change that if you're not happy with where you are now. And on the other side of that, a a big part of I'm gonna go with taking responsibility for where you are now. Um, the other part of that is one, building trust in yourself. Once you take accountability for that, and okay, building trust in yourself because no one got you to where you are now. I think nobody is fully self-made. There are so many influences in my life personally that I wouldn't be where I am without those influences. But at the same time, so many people who are, or maybe like a big source of lack of confidence is that you're not giving yourself credit for what you've done up until this point. You're not letting yourself take the responsibility for the good things in your life. An example that I like to kind of go to sometimes is if someone asks me for a workout program, which happens a lot because not a lot. Okay. Chill. It happens somewhat frequently because I'm kind of jacked. Or was at least. But if someone asks me for a workout program or what's your training split? And that's like a question people ask a lot. Like if you see someone who looks good or looks like how you want to look on Instagram or whatever, like a first question is like what's your training split? Or your workout split. And the thing with that is I can give you everything that I've learned up until this point in my fitness journey. I can give you every single workout routine that got me to this point, every diet change, every lifestyle change. I can give you all of that information, but you have to be the person to work out, to put in that work. And you won't get the results unless you put in that work. But it's you who did that, it's not me. And so maybe, someone assisted you by giving you the information, but you have to be the person to go out, get that information, and then apply it to your life. And that's you taking responsibility despite that person being further ahead, despite whatever genetic disposition you were given with physically. Um, I don't know if that scientifically made any sense or was correct or whatever, but whatever state you are now, you can complain about that, or you can take responsibility for the things that you actually are or aren't doing, and then move forward with that to make the change. And then something else I'm kind of figuring out with this is how much with anything that I am sharing, it's like finding the fine line of oversharing and how much do I want to leave out and not talk about, but how much do I need to provide, I guess, context. Um, and why am I talking about this stuff? It's on my mind because of something I'm currently working through or have worked through. But what something I'm currently working through is how much of that do I actually want to put out. So that's that's what I'm thinking about while I'm thinking about this right now. But basically, oh, hold on. I'm actively making sure everything is functioning perfectly at all times. Um, hmm. There's gonna be a little bit of a pause here while I think. But I'm giving myself time to think. I think it's good to give yourself time to think. It's okay to give yourself time to think. To about what you want to say, how you want to respond to myself, I guess. Just a little side note. Sometimes if I'm struggling to find the words for something, like I'm internally asking or reframing the question in my head, and it helps me to think about it. I don't know how that would apply to. No, I guess it can. Um, but constantly reframing the question is a good way to work on thinking about things. And the way I'm doing, might as well share this. Okay. The way I'm doing that right now is in my head, I'm like, or the question that I'm posing to myself right now to continue this thought is, oh, I lost the question. I was just saying it. Um, what, what is a change that you can make in your mindset to, sorry, I just heard my roommate. Um, okay, pause. What is a change you can make in your mindset? What I think one of the biggest changes you can make in how you think, how you approach things is taking and even though this isn't I have to caveat my thought because obviously I want to consider the people who are in difficult situations, but at the same time focusing on that isn't going to help you. So the biggest change I think you can make in your mindset is understanding that where you are right now is your own fault. The good and the bad, that is on you. That is what you did with what you were given. And once you take responsibility, once you understand that, I think it builds a level of trust in yourself and it gives you a level of control that helps you going forward. The other thing, going back to what brought this to my attention more so, is okay. There's I've been very deep into health and fitness and wellness and all of that for a a large portion of my life. It is something I always fall back on. Um And for certain things, like for certain health matters, like my acne or hormonal issues that come with just growing up, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. For okay. For certain things, I've gone to a professional for help. And the thing with that is I think part of this mindset shift, I guess that's what I'll call it, is that the the only person who, I don't want to say the only person, but the person who cares or should care the most about where you are and where you're ending up is yourself. I don't want to say the only person you can trust is yourself, but to a certain extent, there is only one person who has access to everything in your mind and you will live with every single day, and that is yourself. So what I'm getting at with this is that means it is your job to put in the work to know what your strengths and weaknesses are, to know about what you're going through, and find the information to help yourself overcome that. Because even with going to professionals, you have to trust that you know yourself. And if something doesn't feel right, give yourself, I'm trying to make sure this is relating back to what I'm talking about. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's your job to know things, to to maybe if I lead with more context, it'll help. The the thing with going to certain professionals is that sometimes there's a bit of an algorithm that they follow. And it's common to automatically jump to a fix that covers up the results, doesn't necessarily fix them. Or covers up the symptoms, doesn't necessarily fix the core issue. And you can blame them for that, or you can understand that that's how it works, and sometimes you have to go out and do the work, find the information, make the changes yourself. And the thing is, you can look at it as being unfair that you're not just given that information, or that not everything is easy, not everything is a direct fix. Or you can look at that as, I have the control to change this. I have, like, it is up to me. And again, isn't it great that you can rely on yourself to make that change? Isn't it better or more useful for you to think about that, to focus on how much of where you are is because of you? Again, the good and the bad. So maybe that was a little bit rambly going into it, but I think the point was put across that I don't know. I don't know how much more I want to go into this without where my head is at, I guess. Oh, I don't know. I guess that's the thought that I'm exploring right now, or that I've been exploring, is that wherever you are right now, that is your fault. Which sounds bad, but if you think about it, that's a good thing. And the sooner you can take responsibility for that, the sooner you can make the change, and the sooner you could gain more confidence in where you are, because it took intentional effort. Anything worth working towards, anything, I don't want to say that sounded a little bit, I was going to say anything worth being takes intentional effort from an individual. And so you can put the blame on their circumstances, or you can acknowledge the fact that they worked for where they are. And that goes the same for yourself. And it helps to build more trust in yourself and boost your own confidence if you accept that you put in work to get to where you are. And like, you did that. That was you. So maybe stop second guessing yourself sometimes, but also if there's something in your current circumstance that you don't like, instead of blaming everything around you, look at yourself and what you can do and focus more on that, because that's the thing that's going to make a change. And when it comes to making these changes, yes, go to professionals if you need to. And do your due diligence in getting the information you need to make the change. But trust your intuition a little bit and get information from multiple sources before choosing one thing as law, or following one thing as law. Like, it's not anyone else's job to give you the answers. It's your job to get the information, to experiment, to work through that. And sometimes it sucks when you think you're doing so much to fix something and it's not working, but that's no one's fault but your own. And it sucks, but take that responsibility and move forward with that. And I again, you can take this as, you can take it as insensitive in a way, or like, what are you talking about? Like, things are unfair, people have different opportunities. You can focus on that stuff, or you can focus on what you can do, and one's gonna get you further than the other, in my opinion. And yeah, sometimes it sucks, but such is life, and it's not always a bad thing. It's really about what you focus on. And I think I'm running in circles at this point. So we're gonna end the episode here. Thank you for watching. If you're here, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Whoa.